Okay, now, lobby group Afriforum says the banning of the old apartheid flag is censorship. The lobby group has appeared before the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein today. The South Gauteng High Court in 2019 ruled that the display of the old South African flag amounted to hate speech. That was the Equality Court sitting in that High Court that made that call, but Afriforum is disagreeing. My colleague, senior reporter Aviwe Mtila, covering the story for us today, joining us now live for an update in Bloemfontein outside the court there. Good afternoon, Aviwe. I can see a couple of lawyers standing there behind you. One of them is from the Nelson Mandela Foundation, if I can see him. I spoke to him a short while ago about what's happening inside court. Are the arguments for the day done and dusted, or are we still expecting more arguments? We've seen the lawyers for the two sides speaking earlier, and I understand as well that the Justice Department was also in court today.
Done and dusted for the day, Dan, as judgment has been reserved here at the Supreme Court of Appeals in Bloemfontein. We understand that Afriforum is appealing that judgment by the Equality Court back in 2019 that basically said that the use of the old apartheid flag is hate speech. They've now taken it here, and we do understand that, of course, the Nelson Mandela Foundation was one of the parties here alongside the South African Human Rights Commission, as well as the Correctional Services Department representatives here. And of course, they're saying that while they do realize, that's the Afriforum, that it is immoral to still be using that flag, they basically saying that no one should be forced. It shouldn't be rooted out as illegal, while the Nelson Mandela Foundation, represented by Advocate Mlugay Tobi, suggesting that that flag is a symbol of racism, it's a symbol of white supremacy. In fact, I want to touch on with the CEO of the Nelson Mandela Foundation, Ndate Hatang. Thank you for joining us at eNCA, but I just want your reflection on today's proceedings.
I think overall we're confident that the court will find in our favor that if we follow the logic that's been introduced by Afriforum, the project that we've been trying to do of nation building, of reconciliation, is in danger of further being fragmented and the danger of our society being destroyed further. And I think if we are to follow that logic, it's also about denying what symbols mean, what symbols represent. And they make it as if the flag stands on its own, without the context of what it actually represents. And I think all of us should be then thinking to ourselves, we must, at every given point and every given chance, we must make sure that we say to Afriforum, work with us to make sure that symbols that represent the indignity of black people, and those who also find it offensive who are white. In other words, it's not a black and white matter. And today was a reflection of that it's beyond just a black and white matter. It's about the nation that's trying to stitch itself together.
Okay, I want to bring on an issue that Afriforum raised when it came to even the Springbok emblem, suggesting that it's also, if the apartheid flag is a symbol of apartheid, so is the Springbok emblem, because people were oppressed under that very emblem, and it may raise emotions for those that were excluded in the Springboks. I want your take as the Nelson Mandela Foundation on that.
You know, one of the things that we need to keep reminding ourselves is that every symbol has its own history and what we try to do to reimagine the nation we want. You'd remember that Madiba worked hard with Archbishop Tutu to ensure that the symbol of the Springboks was one of those that we can adopt as one that is part of our democratic journey. Why did they reject the old apartheid flag? There's a reason for that. And the reason is it was a reconciliation between white South Africans, between the English and the Afrikaners. And at the time of its adoption, it was adopted with a view to exclude, to demean, to ensure that black people knew that they were substandard citizens to everybody else. And it was that reason that they then also rejected that flag. And we then went with symbols that we adopted, all of us adopted between 1994 and 1996. If we are to then live true to that legacy, it means that we must then say these symbols that represent a history must then be adopted for what they were. And those that we need to reject, we must reject with the contempt that they deserve.
I just want your take then on where we are with the nation building projects. 28 years later, since the dawn of democracy in South Africa, yet we are still at the Supreme Court of Appeal debating whether the use of the old apartheid flag should be used, whether in public or private. Where are we with the nation building project?
You know, our nation building project is a project that's still something that's underway. And I think we need to be again working hard against efforts like the likes of Afriforum, which is trying to do away what we've been trying to do so hard. And I'm pleading with South Africans who are watching this and those who are trying their best to stitch our nation together. Let us make sure that our forebears look back and say we tried to plant a seed and it's now germinating without symbols that demean, without symbols that remind us of who we were and who we want to forget that we were there. Except, of course, I need to emphasize this, that also with these symbols, we're not asking for an outright ban, which is something that Afriforum has been saying. We're saying some of these things can remind us of our past, and it can be used in a book. When we are talking about our history in documentaries, and also at the Nelson Mandela Foundation in our museum, we can have such a symbol. In fact, I need to also tell people that we will be hosting a dialogue in the next 2 weeks on the very flag, where we will be exchanging with the family the old South African flag with a new one, where we will then host it in our building to show that it has a place in history and it should be confined there. So our nation building project and reconciliation is something that all of us must put all our energy behind.
Okay, thank you very much. CEO of the Nelson Mandela Foundation, Dr. Selo Hatangya, just moments after that court case, of course, thorny issue around the apartheid flag and its use was debated here at the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein. As it stands, as you heard there, it's not a total ban, Bradan, from the Equality Court back in 2019. It can still be used for journalistic purposes, it can still be used for artistic purposes, as well as just for literature, we do understand. But it is constituted as hate speech. It's not allowed to be used in public or private. Some of those issues that were delved in upon here by Advocate Ngubane will be suggesting that even if it is used in private use, that then would be saying that the children are allowed to be taught apartheid and racism basically from a young age if that flag is still used at home or at schools or churches in private use.
Thank you very much, Aviwe Mtila, for that update there. Talking there to Selo Hatang, the CEO of the Nelson Mandela Foundation. Judgment reserved in this matter, where Afriforum is appealing an Equality Court decision of 2019 that banned the gratuitous display of the old apartheid flag.